All right, Jesse on Fire. Welcome back to the channel. So big night last night, right? You know, Whitaker looked amazing against Gastelum, but more than that, you know, like the kind of the bigger thing that happened last night, let's just be honest, was the Jake Paul and Ben Askren fight. And Jake Paul knocked out Ben Askren in under 2 minutes, which is kind of hilarious. But there's lots to talk about there, right? So the first thing I want to talk about is that I called it, okay? I don't know if you guys are watching my videos, and I was kind of flip-flopping. At first, I said I thought Jake Paul almost for sure was going to win. Then towards the end, I was like, I don't know, maybe Ben Askren's going to do it. He's taking big shots, blah, blah, blah. Last night, during the fight, in my stories, very, very directly, multiple times, I was like, now that I'm actually watching this event, I'm looking at Jake Paul, I'm looking at Ben Askren, Jake Paul's going to win. Okay, Jake Paul's going to win. I called it directly. There was no question about who I said was going to win, and I'll explain exactly why as we get into the video. But more than that, I want to start off by taking you guys on a little trip. Okay, I want to take you on a little imaginary trip just to illustrate a point that I'm going to make, which some of you may have seen on my Instagram stories last night. But I'm going to do a better job, you know, because I was kind of talking as I was experiencing it, you know, like on Instagram, like, you know, stories. But I just want to just break this down like this, okay? So let's pretend that I'm not Jesse on Fire. Let's pretend that I'm a 17-year-old girl, right? Or even a 15-year-old girl. Or, I don't know, somebody who wants to go to a Justin Bieber concert, right? And I'm like, Mommy, I don't have my license yet, but do you think that we could get tickets to the Justin Bieber concert? Could you take me and my friends, please? Please, 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 please. And the mom's like, God, I want to do something nice for my kids, you know, like, wouldn't it be amazing? Hey, and, you know, she goes to her husband, Danny, you know, do you think that we could spend a little bit of money and get some tickets for Louise and her friends? I don't know who would name their teenage girl, you know, Louise, unless they hated their kid. But, you know, Louise, she wants to go to see Justin Bieber so bad. Let's do it. Let's do it for him. He's like, Justin Bieber, I don't want to go. I'll take them. I will take them. And I'll fantasize about Justin Bieber the whole time. And I won't tell you about it. All right. Why not? So they go get tickets for a Justin Bieber concert. You know, the kids, they all get in the car. Hey, we got you guys the tickets. Ah! Right? Then the day of the concert comes. They get them all in the car. They're all, yeah, they're so excited. They get to the fucking concert hall and they get there, they sit down. They're so excited. And then the concert, you know, curtains open. And then Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis come out and they're like, and, you know, Joe Rogan and Dana White's curve, you know, next to the cage, they're like, all right, these two monsters are going to kick the shit out of each other. And the, you know, teenage girls are sitting there like, what am I looking? Wait, I don't understand what's happening. Francis Ngannou, whap! Derek Lewis, bap! I don't understand what's happening right now. Why are these two gigantic men fighting on the stage? Where's Justin Bieber? Okay, and this is just a point that I'm making to illustrate that I paid for a fight. Why the fuck am I looking at a Justin Bieber concert? Why am I looking at E40 performing on stage? This other girl who kind of looks like Cardi B, I guess her name's Saweetie. Why am I watching this? What the fuck is this? Okay, I paid $50 for a fight. I can't tell you how embarrassed I am that I fucking paid for that thing. I could have just waited 1 minute after the fight, watched the 90-second fight of Jake Paul and fucking Ben Askren, and I would have been much better off. Okay, like as a matter of fact, let me just make this perfectly clear. I didn't watch them. Okay. The musical performances, whoever told a fucking fight promoter that live music and fights go together? When has that ever worked? Okay, I can tell you when they tried it. Remember when Affliction tried to launch their own MMA thing and they had Fedor versus Arlovsky and they had Megadeth play right before and everyone's like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Okay, let me just break this down for everybody real quick, okay? If there's a company, right, that is doing exceptionally well, that has gone from near bankruptcy when they were acquired, UFC, to being worth like, whatever, 10, 12 billion dollars, okay? They probably have a formula that works, right? And then Bellator, or whichever organization Scott Coker owns, right? You know, he builds one, he sells it to Dana, then he starts another one, sells it to Dana, whatever, right? And that formula is the same as the UFC, okay? It works, right? Do you think that, like, if anyone wanted to watch a big concert in the middle of their thing, that Dana wouldn't have done that? It doesn't make any sense. But throwing all that shit in there, a bunch of musical performances, is the same as telling a girl she's going to a Justin Bieber concert and then having Francis Ngannou fight Derek Lewis. It makes no fucking sense. It's so stupid. Like, it's seriously, like, so fucking stupid. I was literally watching it just like, you know, and like, look, I have 3 daughters, right? Okay, my oldest is a jiu-jitsu practitioner who, as of this moment, I have realized, because now when we're at home, I start showing her, like, you know, jiu-jitsu videos of, like, techniques. And I'll like show her something that I think is super high level. I'm like, look at how this guy, you know, sweet this dude, and then went and, you know, took his back. And she's like, yeah, that's a, you know, that's a blah. She literally knows, she already knows way more than I do about fucking jujitsu, but which is unsurprising since I have her doing jujitsu 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. But anyway, but with her, she's allowed to watch unlimited physical violence. Like when we're watching TV, okay, if there are people trying to assault each other on television, she's allowed to watch. She can watch that fucking 10 hours a day. I don't care. It's not, you know, as long as it's not actually just end of story. She can watch as much violence as she wants. I want her very prepared to be a martial artist who has seen people attack each other in every possible way. So there's nothing surprising if she's ever, you know, faces that down herself. Okay. All of this is so she'll be prepared to defend herself in case anything ever happens to me. All day long, she can watch violence, right? But you know what she's not allowed to watch? Okay, half-naked skanks doing, you know, whatever shit that they're doing on stage, like the, you know, like the Cardi B WAP Grammys thing. Like, she's not allowed to watch that shit. Okay, like just straight up. I mean, like, it's not like, hey, Giselle, what are you doing? But like, she's in here. I'm, you know, we're watching fights, and then you got some, you know, half-naked skank doing whatever she's doing on this, and I just paused it, and I was like, Giselle, don't watch this shit. You know, it's actually good because it gives me the opportunity to make the point that those are skanks. Just, you know, like, hey, Giselle. And it was so funny. Like, so I had taught her what a skank is on TikTok, you know, like she's not allowed on TikTok anymore, but like, you know, if she saw like a girl dancing or whatever, I was like, that's a skank. I want to just drill it in her mind. Okay. Like that, the kinds of girls that'll get half naked and then, you know, basically, you know, do that type of thing. I'm like, those are skanks, Giselle. Now, in actuality, I don't really have a huge problem with girls, you know, leveraging like weak-minded men to make money. I don't really care about that, but not my fucking daughter. Okay. So when my daughter's growing up, those are a lesser form of person so that she never gets the idea that, you know, she's going to be beautiful, right? Like she's going to look exactly like my wife. I can't have her, you know, unclear on the lack of respect that men like her father, who are going to be the types of dudes that she dates, what they think of girls who do that. Okay. Like I don't have any problem with it, but it's not for my fucking daughter, not for my wife, right? Anyway, so what the hell am I doing here? Right? I'm trying to fucking watch a fight and they've got all this bullshit. It's just so stupid, like so dumb. There are zero fight fans who are like, oh, nice, Bieber's on. Oh, E40 just wrapped up. Now we get to see Snoop Dogg. Fucking no one. Okay. Like I'm not saying that these guys aren't good artists, but don't tell me I'm buying one thing and then give me some other thing. And just because you think, you know what it's like? I'll tell you exactly what it's like. Okay, I promise I'm going to get to the fight. I'm kind of just banking on the fact that I'm interesting enough talking about fucking whatever that this will still be a good video. If you guys already know what happened in the Jake Paul Ben Askren fight, right? This is probably more interesting. It's like I've already heard everyone talk about how Ben Askren's super out of shape, out of his fucking mind, and that Jake Paul can actually punch. So now we can talk about this shit. So here's the thing, okay? Anybody who's ever been in sales, right? Like there are obviously much different levels of sales. Okay, you could be a salesperson at a cell phone store. You could be a salesperson at the Church of Scientology, you know, or you could be a high-level enterprise salesperson like I am or have done in many cases. Okay, when you're selling something where someone has to commit to paying $2 million for something, okay, the way that you do that is you have to really ask a lot of questions and really listen to what they're trying to accomplish. Okay. Now, this is important in any kind of sales. Okay? It doesn't really matter. Like, you know, if someone like comes into your store, right, and they're looking around, they're browsing. Okay, there's a reason they're browsing, right? There's a reason. Like, is their phone too big? Is it too small? Is there something that they don't like? Whatever. There's a reason, or they just want to see what's new. Okay, you have to match what you tell them with what they say they're doing there, right? Like, why are they interested? And then you match that with the thing that you offer them, so they'll buy it, right? Okay, this is not rocket science. Now, the higher up the sale, the more surgical you have to be to kind of figure out where you're going to, you know, match the value. Let me tell you what the fucking opposite of that is, okay? The opposite of that is a person comes in and they go, you know, I'm just looking for something smaller. Like, this is a really big phone and I just want a smaller phone. And then they're like, oh my God, I gotta show this to you. Look at what this device does. And they bring one out that's the exact same fucking size. And they're like, but look at this. You're not gonna fucking believe this. It has satellite connection. You can take pictures and then email them across the fucking world. And it's got this feature and this feature and this feature. And the guy's sitting there like, okay, that's awesome. I said I just wanted something smaller, right? Like, I just want a smaller phone. I gotcha. I hear you, bud. But listen to this. The camera is 100 times more powerful than the last camera. And also, you could take dick pics and it'll automatically stream them to your girlfriend. And the guy, the guy's just like, okay. Like, so when you talk to a salesperson like that, you know what happened? Like, for a person like me who actually understands how this is supposed to go, all I think is I'm like, oh, this person's a retard. Oh, I'm talking to a fucking retard. Okay? You're not listening to me, you fucking idiot. I'm literally telling you exactly what I'm here for. And you know what? Now I'm not going to buy anything from you because you're too fucking stupid. Okay? All I wanted was a smaller phone. Why are you showing me all these amazing features? Fucking idiot. Okay? That's Triller. Okay? I paid to watch a fight. Well, I mean, I get that, but look, it's Snoop Dogg. It's fucking Snoop Dogg. And it's E40. It's Bieber, bro. It's Bieber. We're going to do we'll do this whole thing where we have Bieber walking in. We'll show him greeting everybody. It'd be fucking amazing. Dude, what are you talking about, bud? What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, you think that, like, I understand Jake Paul is like a social influencer and blah, blah, blah. Do you think that, like, his little geek fans that, like, would care about Justin Bieber are paying $50 to watch him box? Okay, fighters are going to, fighters and fight fans are going to actually pay to watch the thing. Okay, you're not listening. You're not thinking, like, the amount of money you must have wasted on those fucking acts is laughable, dude. Idiots. By the way, hey, Oscar De La Hoya, maybe you should do a little less cocaine. Like, just a little bit less cocaine. Like, a little bit less. If you're going to be on TV, do a little bit less cocaine. Okay, I know in your mind, when you're that gacked out, you think you're making, like, incredible points. Like, man, I am on it tonight. I am firing fire. Just spitting hot fire. And everyone's looking at like, this guy's on coke. Like, this guy is definitely on coke. Okay? That's what you look like. And Oscar, I just want to say this. So you saw Mike Tyson box and it inspired you that you can come back and box. I have an idea. I have a feeling it was more along the lines of, I saw Mike Tyson sell pay-per-views. I think maybe people will pay pay-per-views to watch me fight. And you know what? If you fight someone that's going to beat you up, you're right. You are absolutely right. I used to like watching Oscar De La Hoya, Now he's I'm probably biased because I like Dana so much and Dana calls him a cokehead weirdo, which means I think he's a cokehead weirdo now. So the only person who can just influence my opinion based on a single sentence is Dana. So I'm going to, stay true to my influencer. What? Anyway, whatever. Okay. But anyway, that's basically the only part of the thing I watched, because, like, the original point before I went off on a gigantic tangent, every time there was a musical act on and my daughter's sitting there, I would just pause it and just wait. And then I would literally wait like 15 minutes and then I would hit play and they would still be on. I would be like, are you fucking serious? I can't stress enough, if this long rant is not doing justice to how fucking stupid that entire setup was, I don't know what will, dude. By the way, before I even get to the Jake Paul and Ben Askren fight, how about the guy that takes a fucking low blow that grazed his shorts, okay? Like, wrapped around him, okay, everyone was saying it didn't hit him. It hit him like this, like the way that this, like this. Sloop, like, just brushed his thigh on the way to wrapping around, his torso, so it never landed hard, and the guy gets taken out on a stretcher. Bro, do you think that, like, no one has slow motion? You're committing that hard to this, you fucking idiot? Like, I hope you didn't have any designs on any future fucking fight work, dude. Anyway, so now let's talk about Jake Paul and Ben Askren, though, because let me tell you how I knew he was going to win, okay? So I looked at that environment, right? And I looked at how Ben Askren was carrying it, and I looked at how Jake Paul was carrying it, and I was like, and I just saw everything. It was like, oh, Jake Paul, this is literally like his World Series. Like, this is his Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. Like, he's Conor McGregor, I mean. Like, he's like, this is my coming out party. This is my first fight against a real fighter. I could just see it. I'm like, this motherfucker trained for this like it's the super fight of the century. And I look at Ben Askren, he's just like, and I can just see, he's like, this guy, I can see he was looking at Jake Paul like he wasn't, like he didn't even, he's like, I fought every guy, but this guy's nothing. And I'm looking at footage of Jake Paul. Apparently, I'm better at assessing how good a fighter is than fucking Ben Askren, because anybody could have watched footage of him and been like, okay, yeah, he's not like incredible, but the guy hits like a fucking tank, and he's obviously training a lot, and he's getting better, and he has great coaches around him. And you're not a very good striker, Ben Askren. So, like, I could just see it all. Literally, like, once the events are on top of the fact that the environment itself, it was the worst possible environment for for Ben Askren, because it's like, he's in there and you got fucking all this shit going on, like all this stuff that Ben Askren would never attend. So on top of the fact that one guy has taken this so seriously, it's insane. The other guy is a washed up old 38-year-old who's fucking doing this for $1 million and doesn't really think that he's underestimating his opponent. But in addition to that, the environment itself is likely to pump up one of them and make the other guy so embarrassed to be there that he takes it even less seriously. I could just see it. I was like, dude, he's gonna. I fucking knew it. I knew it. Which is why I predicted it on my stories, to make sure that no one could say that I was flip-flopping, because before the fight, in my stories, multiple times, I was like, Jake Paul's gonna win this fight. Just so we're clear, Jake Paul's gonna win this fight. I said it 3 times in 3 separate stories, an hour apart of each. I was very clear who I said was gonna win, and I was right. I didn't think he was gonna knock him out in the first round necessarily, but goddamn. So here's the other thing I want to say. So the question after, everyone's like, oh, it's a work, like it's a work, it's rigged. And I did say this a long time ago. All right, I don't know if people who really watch my shit very closely will remember this. I said the smart thing to do if you're Jake Paul is you get the biggest name you can get and you pay them to take a dive, right? Because ultimately, like, it's, if it's a retired fighter and they get an extra $2 million to just take a shot and say fuck it, like, that's probably a good deal for them. And for you, if you knock out a real fighter, then you're guaranteeing yourself another $20 million the next time you do this, right? So I actually entertained that. They're like, at first I was like, he definitely clipped him, but like, did he take a dive? Then I was watching the replay. I'm like, no, I don't think he did, dude. Then I know for sure he didn't, because of how Ben Askren answered questions right after the fight. They put a microphone in front of him backstage, and he immediately said, well, whatever. I just made $1 million. And I'm going home. He quoted the money. I knew he didn't take a dive, because that's him. He's embarrassed, and that's him being like, fuck. Well, at least I just made $1 million. Anybody who wants to talk shit like that. I can read through that line. I can read through his response right there to tell you that wasn't a work. Okay, that's him trying to make up for the fact that he just got knocked out by a YouTuber, and he's like, well, I made $1 million, so I don't care what people say. It's like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And the fact that you just talked about how much money you made demonstrates that, right? Because what did we talk about in my other video, right? The Connor and Dustin, like who's the alpha dog? How do you, there are a couple things you can either win in a fight, or you can tell somebody how much money you have, right? And the fact that he had to quote how much money he has means that the other part of his, personality, where he's the alpha dog, he's like, I need to make up for this somehow. Like my alpha's crushed right now. So here's the only other way that I can bring it up. I just made $1 million. So fuck all you guys. He didn't, he got legit knocked out 100%. So there's that, right? So if you made it this far, I guess we should probably talk about what's next for Jake Paul, because in my opinion, this is a fucking no-brainer. No-brainer. UFC, Dana White, give him Mike Perry. Give him fucking Mike Perry, man. That's a no-brainer. That should be the next fight. The buildup will be huge. The fight will be like, they'll be like, okay, Ben Askren sucks, okay? Like, Ben Askren was a great wrestler. He's fucking garbage. If this didn't show that, he's garbage. Like, not like kind of not good. Utter garbage. Maybe one of the worst strikers to ever. As a matter of fact, I'm actually going to say, after that, I think he is the worst striker. Definitely the worst striker to ever fight in the UFC. Yeah, he's the worst. Definitely the worst striker to ever fight in the UFC. One of the worst strikers to ever compete in MMA, like, at a level that you would ever even hear about. At professional MMA, above the absolute ground level, you're getting paid 100 and 100 fucking shows, okay? The worst. Mike Perry is not that. If you fucking have him, if you have Jake Paul fight Mike Perry, not only will that sell, that would be, if Jake Paul somehow beat Mike Perry in a fucking boxing match, I don't think he would. But if he did, listen, fuck, dude, he's got titanic power, man. That's just bottom line. He's also he's a little bit big, but Mike Perry said he wanted to go up to 185. Jake Paul weighed in at 191. Jake Paul would make 185 for that fight, right? Like, drop 6 more pounds, he could do it. So you have him fight at 185. If Jake Paul can knock anyone out. I don't give a fuck who you are. Jake Paul can knock you out. That's bottom line, dude. Like, bottom line. If he beat Mike Perry, that's a whole different ballgame, right? And that would generate an enormous sum of money, and UFC can make a lot of dough, dude. And what are you going to do with Mike Perry otherwise? He just lost again. He's a big name. He is, if you're thinking like a business, he's a guy you can make money with, just not necessarily as a contender in the UFC. Stick him up against Jake Paul, dude. I mean, get this guy real money, dude. Mike Perry needs, I mean, he's a dude that, like, you should want to root for. You could make him $5 million for this fight. And the UFC could make an additional $10 million. Fucking $20-30 million. Right? And then it'll be a legit fight, and everybody will get to see what they want, assuming that Mike Perry can beat Jake Paul. Right? So, anyway, that's what I've got. Like I said, a unique channel. Right? I can promise you no one else is going to... This is not going to resemble anyone else's take on this fucking fight at all. But anyway, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell your fucking friends. Peace.